Taiwan scrambled fighter jets on Friday as 18 Chinese aircraft buzzed the island, including crossing the sensitive midline of the Taiwan Strait. This comes at a time when U.S. Undersecretary for Economic Affairs Keith Krach arrived in Taipei, who is the most senior State Department official to come to Taiwan in 4 decades. The Taiwanese Defense Ministry said in a tweet, September 18th, 2 H-6 bombers, 8 J-16 fighters, 4 J-10 fighters, and 4 J-11 fighters crossed the midline of the Taiwan Strait and entered Taiwan's southwest ADIZ, ROCAF scrambled fighters, and deployed air defense missile system to monitor the activities. China's been very sensitive to the ever-closer relationship between Taipei and Washington and has stepped up military exercises near the island, which includes 2 days of large-scale air and sea drills last week. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank, aircraft, or ship and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. Lieutenant General Sergei Kobolash, the Russian Aerospace Forces long-range aviation commander, told reporters that Russian Tu-160 supersonic bombers, NATO reporting name of Blackjack, has broken the world record for longest non-stop flight for this type of aircraft. 2 crews of the long-range aviation have set a new record for distance and duration on Tu-160 supersonic strategic missile-carrying bombers. The pilots of the Russian Aerospace Forces were in the air for more than 25 hours, covering a distance of more than 20,000 kilometers. Kobolash said, adding that nobody has flown this type of aircraft longer. The previous record was set in 2010 by Tu-160 bombers that had been in the air for 24 hours, 24 minutes. The Defense Ministry said, the Tu-160 strategic missile-carrying bombers were accompanied by Su-35S fighter jets along with foreign aircraft along certain sections of their route. Blackjack is the largest combat aircraft in the world, with a maximum takeoff weight of about 275 tons. It can cover a distance of more than 12,000 kilometers or 7,456 miles without refueling. The Tu-160 has a crew of 4 and is powered by 4 Kuznetsov NK-32 afterburning turbofan engines, the most powerful ever fitted to a combat aircraft. The War Zone has reported that between late February and early March of last year, Andersen Air Force Base on the island of Guam experienced repeated incursions by unmanned aircraft. Interestingly, the UAVs seem to be focused in U.S. Army's Terminal High Altitude Area Defense THAAD battery, which is present at the base. Viewers may note that THAAD battery is deployed to defend the island from ballistic missile attacks. It's considered to be one of the best when it comes to ballistic missile defense systems, having been designed from the ground up for this purpose. THAAD is engineered to defend against ballistic missiles in challenging scenarios, like even if the rival launches a barrage of missiles and simultaneous interception of multiple missiles is required. The War Zone reported that the intruding craft was described as quadcopter-like vehicles with bright spotlights that flew from over the water and then across the northwest base. The STRYKER family of vehicles has reached a new milestone as the U.S. Army started deploying the 3rd generation of STRYKER vehicle platforms designated as DVHA-1 at Fort Carson, Colorado. Colonel William Venable, Army project manager for the STRYKER Brigade Combat Team, stated, "The STRYKER program is healthy. It's a good time to be in the STRYKER business. STRYKER is one of the key platforms that are part of the Army's overall modernization strategy. And as such, we've had several key decisions in the past that are modernizing our various platform capabilities and examining modernizing future capabilities." Venable stated the DVHA-1 offers substantial improvements in mobility, power, and network interoperability. It has got a larger horsepower engine and improvements in suspension and larger tires, giving it greater ground mobility. It's got a much larger alternator for power generation, and it's the first vehicle that has a built-in and integrated vehicle network that will make us fully compatible with the Army's future integrated tactical network. Russian President Vladimir Putin has compared the development work of AVANGARD hypersonic missiles with the scale of the USSR's nuclear project. Putin said on the Gunsmith Day with an engineer, designer of rocket and space technology, Gerbert Efimov, "The results of your work can hardly be overestimated. You not only stood at the origins of this technological idea, but you're its author. In modern conditions, the embodiment of your idea for our country is undoubtedly comparable to the implementation of the Soviet Union's nuclear and missile projects, which were carried out by outstanding Soviet scientists Kurchatov and Korolev." The Russian president stated that the U.S. withdrawal from the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty in 2002 forced Russia to develop hypersonic weapons. He explained, "We had to create these weapons in response to the U.S. deploying Strategic Missile Defense System, which in the future would be able to actually nullify our entire nuclear potential." Viewers may note that in 2018, during the State of the Nation address, President Putin had unveiled several new weapons, and one of them was AVANGARD. At that time, Mr. Putin had described it by saying, "It heads to target like a meteorite, like a fireball." The British Royal Navy has completed extensive trials of the upgraded Spearfish torpedo in Scotland. This marks an important milestone as it's expected to enter service with the Navy. During trials, the new advanced torpedo was fired continually at another frigate, HMS Sutherland, and scientists, engineers, and sailors assessed its performance. Weapon Engineer Officer Lieutenant Commander David Tinsley added, "This is not the first time Sutherland has contributed to Spearfish trials, and we're glad to be supporting a small part of a larger defense program, which will deliver a world-class weapon into service." A range of military and industrial partners have come together to deliver an efficient trial, which in due course will deliver another exciting capability for the Royal Navy. Reports indicate that the upgraded weapon was tested over 4 days near the Kyle of Lochalsh. The testing included software and hardware enhancements. The powerful torpedo is capable of taking out frigates, destroyers, and similar-sized ships and eliminate underwater threats. U.S. Central Command has directed the deployment of Bradley fighting vehicles, advanced Sentinel radar systems, and other assets to northeastern Syria to protect the remaining few hundred U.S. troops against Islamic State attack, CENTCOM said in a statement. It's to be noted that the nature of the new threat posed by ISIS that triggered the U.S. response was not divulged. The M2A2 Bradleys carry a 25mm Bushmaster chain gun and TOW anti-tank missiles, and the Sentinel system can be used for counter-battery target acquisition and air defense. Army Colonel Wayne Morato, the new spokesman for Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve in Iran and Syria, said in a Twitter post, "Despite the territorial defeat of ISIS, the degradation of its leadership, and the widespread refutation of its ideology, this violent Islamist extremist group still poses a threat. Unless pressure on Daesh, ISIS, is maintained, its re-emergency remains as a very real possibility." Viewers may note that an estimated 200 to 500 U.S. troops remain in Syria.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.